Welcome to this brief guide on how to use Paste Special in Excel. Do you ever find yourself copying and pasting something in Excel only for it to completely mess up your layout? Or do you find yourself manually changing hundreds of numbers one by one? These are common frustrations that take time away from more important work. So what if I told you there's a powerful built-in feature that can solve all of these problems for you? In this tutorial, we're going to unlock the power of Paste Special. So let's get started. Alright, for our first trick, let's explore one of the most powerful and hidden features of Paste Special, performing mathematical operations. Now imagine this scenario. It's the start of a new financial year and management has decided to apply a flat $5 price increase to our entire product line. Now, we could go through and manually add 5 to each of these individual cells. But if you have hundreds of products, that's not just tedious, it's also just asking for mistakes. So let's do it the smart way. The first thing we'll need is to tell Excel what number we want to use in our calculation. So I'll find an empty cell on my worksheet, say over here in G3, and I'll simply type the number 5. Now all we need to do is copy this value to Excel's clipboard. So I'll select the cell and press Ctrl+C. You can see the animated dashed line, often referred to as the marching ants. This will appear around our cell. This is Excel's way of showing us that the cell's content is now copied and ready to be used. Next, we need to tell Excel where to apply this operation to. So I'll go back over to our price column here and select every cell that we want to change. A quick way to do this is to click the first price, scroll all the way to the bottom, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and then click on the last price. This will highlight the entire range for you. And now for the magic. With all of our prices selected, I'm going to right-click anywhere on the highlighted area to bring up the context menu, and from here, I want to find and select Paste Special. This will open up the Paste Special dialog box. We can also open this with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Alt-V on Windows or Command-Option-V on macOS. You can see that there are a lot of options here, but we're interested in this section down here called Operation. It defaults to none, which is why a normal paste will simply just overwrite the data. But we can instruct Excel to do a whole lot more. So I'm going to select Add. This tells Excel, take the number 5 from my clipboard and mathematically add it to the existing value in each cell that I've highlighted. I click on OK, and look at that. Instantly, every single one of our prices has been increased by exactly $5. No manual calculation, no risk of typos. But this feature is even more versatile. Let's take a look at another, even cleverer way to use this. Here I have some data that was imported from another system, and the completion column shows percentages as whole numbers. So 25 should mean 25%. Now if I just select this and apply the percentage format from the Home tab, watch what happens. We get 2,500%. That's because Excel stores percentages as decimals, so it thinks 25 is 2,500%. Let's undo that and fix it the right way. The logic here is that we actually need to divide all of these numbers by 100 and then format them as a percentage. But we can do that all in one go with a multiplication trick. In a spare cell, I'm going to type 1% and then I'll copy it. Now remember, Excel understands 1% as the decimal value 0.01. Now I'll select the column of whole numbers, right-click, and then open up Paste Special again. And this time, for the operation, I'm going to choose Multiply. By multiplying each number by 0.01, we are effectively dividing it by 100. When I click OK, Excel does the maths and automatically applies the correct percentage format also. Just like that, our data is fixed and perfectly formatted. Alright, next up, let's talk about comments. Comments, which you can identify by this little triangle in the top right corner of a cell, are a brilliant way to add notes, questions, or reminders to your data without cluttering up the cell's actual content. Here I have a comment on one of our Q3 sales targets that says it needs to be reviewed. Let's say I need to apply this exact same note to several other items in our report. Of course, we don't want to copy the value of the Q3 sales target over to the other cells, we only want the comment. This is a perfect job for Paste Special. First, I'll select the cell containing our source comment and copy it using Ctrl+C. We see our familiar marching ants, so we know it's ready. Now I need to select the destination cells. These cells aren't next to each other, so I can't just click and drag. The trick here is to hold down the Control key on your keyboard, or Command on macOS, and while keeping it held down, I can click individually on any cells I want to add to my selection. I'll pick this one, and maybe this one down here. Now all three of them are selected. With my destination cells selected, I'll right-click on any one of them and open up Paste Special. Now, take a look at the options at the top. The default setting is All, which is why a normal paste copies everything: the formula, the value, the format, and the comment. But we're going to override that here. By selecting this option here, Comments and Notes, we are telling Excel to completely ignore everything else it copied and to only paste the comment. I'll click OK, and there we go. The original data in those cells is completely untouched, the formatting is exactly the same, but you can see each one now has that helpful little triangle in the corner. If I hover over them, you can see that our note has been successfully copied across all the items we selected. It's a fantastic way to apply instructions across a report without creating a mess. And for our final trick in this video, let's solve one of the most common and visible frustrations in Excel. You've spent time creating a beautiful table, carefully adjusting each column so your descriptions have room to breathe and your dates and numbers fit perfectly. It looks great, but then you need to copy it to another part of your workbook or into a new sheet entirely. So you do the standard copy and paste. I'll select my entire original table, including the headers, and press Ctrl+C to copy. Then I'll click on a new cell to be the top left corner of my new table and press Ctrl+V to paste. And disaster! The layout is completely broken. The description text is cut off, and our date and currency columns are now too narrow, which is why we're seeing this dreaded series of hash symbols. This hash error doesn't mean your data is gone, it's just Excel's way of telling you that the column is too narrow to display the entire number. Now you could manually resize each column again, but that's slow and imprecise. So let's use Paste Special instead. The key is to do this in two steps. The first paste got the data over. For the second step, notice that our original table still has the marching ants around it. This means it's still in our clipboard. So without clicking anywhere else, I'll right-click on the new, messy table that I just pasted and I'll go back into Paste Special. This time, we're looking for this wonderfully simple option right here, Column Widths. We're not pasting the values or the formulas again. We are only telling Excel to look at the width property of our source columns and apply that exact same width to our destination columns. I click on OK, and just like magic, the columns instantly snap into place. Everything is perfectly aligned, the text is readable, and our numbers are back. Now this two-step process, a normal paste followed immediately by a paste column widths, is the professional way to duplicate tables and reports, ensuring that your formatting remains perfect every single time. So there you have it, 3 powerful Paste Special features to perform maths, copy comments, and perfectly match your column widths. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can even use Paste Special to transpose data. The best way to get comfortable with Paste Special though is to give it a go yourself. You'll be amazed at how often this little known feature will come in handy. Happy spreadsheeting, and I'll catch you in my next video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to check out the channel. And if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.